is what's best for business.
I gotta go take a big hairy dump.
Oh my God!
Tonight's main event, a tag team match.
Yes!
Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast, the weekly podcast where we review every segment on Raw and we go through the wrestling news of the week. My name is Turbo Tony and we're here with Matt Marsan. How are you doing today, Matt?
Pretty good today, Tony, and yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm feeling a bit sick, so I apologise to anyone that's listening. I had like a cold all day and I've been trying my best. I've been trying all sorts of different methods to try and beef up my audio quality, my speaking quality for tonight, because it's going to be quite a big episode of Let's Talk Wrestling.
Definitely.
So yeah, I mean, apart from that, yeah, pretty much, same old, sort of building up towards Royal Rumble. I get more excited for Royal Rumble than I do any of the other events. Are you quite excited for Rumble this year?
Well, Rumble's always that, it's how they do it. It's like, it's the start of the road to WrestleMania, and it's true. And it's like, after, Sunday night, we know who's going to be main eventing for the title, and it sort of really just sets the whole thing into motion.
It does. And when you start knowing what sort of plans that they're going to get into when Royal Rumble kicks around, and obviously as there's only one championship this year, the card is a lot easier to predict because that way it's not so much who's going to be going for each championship. I'm sure we'll go into that more as it goes on. We'll be doing our Royal Rumble predictions on this episode there today. For all those that missed it, I did a Let's Talk More Wrestling podcast. Do you like that name, Matt? Did you like that name?
It was an interesting little turn on it, actually.
Yeah. I was like,
good try.
Should I call it Let's Talk Wrestling Extra? I was like, nah, that sounds horrendous, so I had to do that. Yeah, I talked about Kofi Kingston and a lot of negative stuff on there about Kofi Kingston. So the guys that actually listen to that as well, thanks a lot for listening to that. And yeah, if you haven't already, catch it up on our YouTube. It's the video literally went up during the week.
So it's only about 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, exactly. Quite a bite-sized little thing. Like I said, we missed that last week because we just ran out of time. But we've got plenty of time to talk about all of the wrestling stuff here this week. Raw and the Royal Rumble predictions. And like I said, the topic that we've been trying to do for the last 2 weeks regarding whether the roster's too bloated. But anyway, let's get into the wrestling news, Matt. Let's not dawdle any further on. First of all, we had good old JR. He obviously does his online stuff where he goes on Twitter and
JR's barbecue, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he spoke actually more about his retirement, if you could call it that. Basically, he was essentially fired by WWE for all intents and purposes, and they wanted to spin it off as retirement, and JR, let them do it essentially.
I don't know. I think it was kind of one of those things. It's like you have two choices: you can walk out, or we'll kick you out.
Yeah,
and it's a really awkward thing. And it's like a terrible thing for WWE to sort of do that to JR.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at, they've done this quite a lot with JR. They haven't treated him that well, especially towards the latter stage of his career. When you've got the best play-by-play announcer in my opinion in history on your books, and you don't use him, that's kind of a travesty in itself. But we all knew that that he didn't retire, that he was fired from WWE. Anyone with half a brain cell knew that was the case.
Oh yeah.
And he talks a lot about the fact that may have been because of the WWE 2K14 panel, what happened with Ric Flair, and he talks about Ric Flair a lot in that post that he made, and he said that it may not have been the best time for Flair to go up there as his son only died a couple of weeks before that actual.
Yeah, that's true.
And when you actually look at it that way, then it is a little bit suspect why they would have brought him in, that Raw to that, that Raw to the whole.
Yeah, sort of situation. Like, I understand it's been a terrible time, but we need you to talk. It's like, well, dude, really?
Yeah. And look at the stuff that he was talking about at that as well. He was talking a lot of stuff about his son and about his Hall of Fame rings that he gave to both his kids, everything like that. But JR he just basically admits that he was supposed to keep the train on the tracks, and it spiraled way out of control. He didn't expect to get fired because of it, but he believes that probably is one of the main reasons why he was fired. We're not going to call it retirement because it wasn't, because the guy's not obviously done with wrestling. He's not done with working. He's still going out there. He's always saying he's got lots of projects on. He's going to be doing a podcast soon.
Yep, that's true. Hopefully, maybe another one for Podcast One.
Yeah, they seem to be getting a lot of those guys, don't they?
That's it. Like, you've got Stone Cold, Jericho. Next up's JR.
Yeah, I think that's my fill for wrestler podcasts. I don't want any more than that. I think if everyone starts, like, anyone that's been in the ring for 5 minutes starts putting up a podcast, then I'm not going to be that interested. Jericho's one is quite good. Austin's one's quite good. We see how JR's is going to be good. Obviously, he's one of the best talkers in wrestling history, but we'll have to see how it goes. For podcasting, as we know, is different than commentating. But I'm sure Jay will be fine. He's almost like he's a touch of gold. He kind of does good at whatever he does anyway. But it's good to see him openly come out and just talk about the fact that he didn't retire. You know what I mean? It was a very odd term for him to say that he's retiring from WWE because we know that the guy has got a lot to offer, and he was doing a lot of stuff with the guys down at NXT and the developmental. I don't know why you let go someone like JR, but they seem to have had something in for him over the last 10 years or so, shall we say?
So just to stifle him, just like no, that's nice, JR. That's nice. Just go sit back over there now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm a Manchester City football fan. It's like having Sergio Aguero, one of our top goal scorers of the year, and then just leaving him on the bench, not using him. We decided we'd sell him on for nothing. That's essentially, for anyone who knows football or anything like that. But or for our American listeners, it's like having LeBron James and putting him on the bench. You wouldn't do it. He's your top guy in that field. You play your best guys in that roles, but he hasn't been, so that's the way it is. Next, going on, Jake the Snake, who obviously made his return a couple of weeks ago
Old School
Raw.
Apparently, like, there's one thing. It's just a minor thing. We were saying like that on Old School Raw, Ambrose was smiling because. Yeah. Did you know that apparently it was because the snake shat on him?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I read somewhere it's like apparently like Punk was like rubbing in his face. It's like that snake's took a poo. Oh God.
He relieved himself. Yeah.
Yeah. The quote was defecated, and I was just like, let's just dumb it down.
He was barking out. There's no excuse. He was barking out, and rightly so. So anyway, yeah, Jake Snake obviously he's. I think I don't know what's going on with Jake at the moment because he slammed Ultimate Warrior on Twitter. He said a lot of bad stuff. I think he called him an arsehole or anything like that on Twitter. And he came back afterwards and said, "I apologise. He was just, it wasn't meant in that vein." But he came out looking a little bit worse for it. And I think sort of incidents like these, where regardless of what he thinks of Ultimate Warrior, I'm sure there might be a little bit of disdain there between the two. But regardless of that, Jake needs to play his cards and his negotiation right to make sure that he continues a good relationship with WWE in the future.
Yeah.
This sort of stuff isn't going to do that, especially for a guy that's the #1 induction to the Hall of Fame this year. Doesn't exactly seem like a very good way to get himself in WWE's good graces.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you've welcomed me back with open arms. That's how it would seem, and I'm just literally just going to go. Oh, you want to make him Hall of Famer? Yeah, I disagree. Yeah. I don't like that idea.
I don't know.
Jake, shut up.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe he's upset because a lot of people were saying that he should get a Hall of Fame induction himself, because the area of New Orleans is where he kind of cut his teeth, and he kind of got into the next echelon of wrestling there. So that's pretty much
true. Yeah,
his territory. But regardless of that, this. He came out looking worse for it. I don't know whether maybe it's just the new age of wrestling fans or anything like that. Just that I imagine a lot of if Twitter was around like years ago, I imagine there's a lot of stuff that would have flown that would have been a lot worse than what Jake said. But now,
if anything, it might even just be the fact that it's just like old school. I mean, obviously, maybe it's just old faces keep old names. Still keeping kayfabe.
Yeah, could be. I mean, the fact is that Ultimate Warrior doesn't exactly have a stellar reputation in wrestling. A lot of people don't respect him as a wrestler or a guy. He made a lot of enemies in his time in WWE and WCW after.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm under no illusions that there's a lot of people that still don't like the guy, no matter how much he's kind of toned down over the
I'd say I've never been a massive Warrior fan.
Yeah. Well, like I said last week, I can see his appeal, and he was huge. He's been part of some really big WrestleMania matches, but he wasn't exactly the technician in the ring. He was a bit. He was essentially a lot of people give stick to, like I said, of John Cena having the same set of moves. John Cena has got more moves than Ultimate Warrior could dream of. He was very much a one-trick pony.
Yeah, that's true.
And he'll always be that along those lines anyway. So, moving on to the annual Sting rumors. It seems like every single.
Yes, it's the build up to Mania. Start the Sting, take him.
Yeah, exactly. It seems to be happening over the last 5 years. It's like as soon as Royal Rumble comes around, the rumours start going around that Sting is coming to WWE, and it seems to happen all the time. But then he re-signs with TNA. A lot of people are saying behind the scenes that there's some legitimacy to him coming back, and I'm sure there maybe is, but he may be talking to him. I mean, Sting said this a lot of times. He's spoken to WWE on multiple occasions about going to them. It's just he hasn't been won over about what they want to do with him, or he hasn't been able to trust them with his character. So he hasn't gone there yet. I don't see anything else to change Sting's opinion. I don't know yet. Maybe he sees the writings on the wall and he wants to do that final big payday, at WrestleMania, which, you'd have to go against Taker. There really is no other way. Maybe he will come. Maybe he will. But personally, from his track record, you can't say that Sting's coming, because this seems to happen every year. The people get more and more sure each year that he's coming, and then he ends up re-signing with TNA, and it all blows over until the next year. So, I mean, what's your thoughts? Do you think he might come this year, or do you think it's same old, same old?
I think it's kind of difficult. I'd like to think that this year would be the year.
Yeah.
But I mean, mostly just because you see the pictures going around and you hear all the rumours and stories that is going on with TNA.
Yeah.
And you sort of think to yourself, well, I mean, Sting's not getting any younger. It'd probably be a good idea for him to get out and do like you said, his one last big payout.
Yeah.
And he's not going to get that in TNA, considering they can't even afford to pay for a venue.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of difficult. I'd love to see Sting come back.
Yeah.
Well, I say come back, but you know what I mean. Sort of come out of TNA and actually do that match with Taker. But it's that sort of thing. It's like the longer it goes on, the less likely it is going to be. And I don't know. I hope he's smart enough to sort of realise signing back with TNA probably isn't the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, if I were him, like I said, he's not, in terms of in-ring ability, the guy's been declining for a while, and rightly so. He's getting on a little bit now. So yeah, go out, do that one last. Everyone's been, wanting him to come back and have that one show on WWE. Make it full circle. What a way to end his career, to have a WrestleMania match with Taker, and then you could go on from there. I don't think the match would be any good personally, but that's more Sting rather than Undertaker's sort of in-ring abilities. But yeah, I think that's the way to go. But whether it's going to happen or not, we're not sure. I'm going to hold my breath until any more details come out, because as much as the dirt sheets like to say that there's legitimacy to these claims and that he's going to be coming, this has all happened before, as we said, that he's spoken to WWE and they haven't come to terms, and he's gone to TNA again. It happens every single year. So we'll hold our breaths on that, and that's a fantasy match that we might see one day, and it'll have to make it more of a spectacle. But yeah, if I were him, I'd take the payday. One more match, he can rest up his body, then he'll make way more money one night in WWE than he would do working with TNA for a long-term period.
For another year sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's basically it. So, apart from that, there wasn't much more wrestling news over that week. We're kind of talking over what other people have said and rumours here and there. There wasn't much actual news per se, but there will be more and more as WrestleMania continues anyway. So, we'll get into the Raw recap. Raw this week was okay. It was all sort of built around the return of Big Dave Batista.
Yep, easily.
And they've been building this up for a while, since the start of the year. They announced his return date weeks in advance. And we had said back in old episodes of the podcast that we believe that this was sort of to the detriment of his return, that you would get as much bigger a response as what would happen if he had a surprise entrance, or maybe if they booked him to return at Rumble and then he came back at Rumble and had that uber pop,
like Jericho did last year.
Yeah.
I think they did really good.
With his
actual return.
Yeah.
Now that it was I know we were sort of saying, oh yeah, it's a bit detrimental. It's probably a really bad idea that they've already announced it. But then what they actually did on Raw was good.
Yeah. We'll go through the segment anyway, because Triple H opened up the show anyway, and he was giving Batista the big introduction, and Randy Orton came out in his stead and basically bitched and moaned.
Hunter, you're not supporting me anymore.
Yeah. I think it's quite funny that Stephanie McMahon basically just put him in his place right at the start, and then he's just starting to get more and more. I don't see why Randy Orton as a character would think that he's above the company that gave him the belt. I've been trying to do my best to stay on their good graces, and they haven't done anything to try and make him seem otherwise. You know what I mean? But regardless, that's his character. He's this egotistical guy who believes he's bigger than anyone. So I guess that's sort of the thing. They said anyway in the promo that a camera was being placed outside of the arena to wait until Cena returns. Cena was going to be arriving later on in the night, and you'd be able to see him first off on that camera. First of all, we all know Cena is a workhorse, and he's sort of been
he's been yeah, and he's always been sort of like everyone says, oh, he's always the first to arrive and last to leave, and it's like, so he's turning up late.
Yeah,
don't believe it.
Yeah, I'm not. When I watch wrestling, I try to suspend my belief as much as I can. But with this, it was a little bit sort of like you can't ask us to expect that Cena hasn't been there, already, and he's your biggest star and everything. But fair enough.
He'll be turning up later because he's actually gone off to get something to eat.
Yeah,
he's been here for 2 hours already.
Yeah, exactly. He went off to go get a kebab, so he'll be back to face you Randy Orton later on, maybe. I don't know. some sort of nuclear kebab, hence why his gear glowed at the end of the night. Yeah, he's got a new t-shirt. Well, we'll go into that later. So Batista finally made his return after more sort of moaning and Triple H explaining what he expected of Orton as their champion, and he got a big pop.
And attacking an old man is not what you do. Yeah. Bad Orton. Exactly. Naughty. And fracturing his orbital socket. One of the things I was thinking, when they were talking about the things that he never fucking touched him.
Yeah. No, I remember this, right, because remember one of the times I think that JR got attacked or something, and like Michael Cole was doing a choke on him, so he was saying, oh, he's got like I'm just going to make up, he's got a fractured elbow right at the end, he put it in the end, and he has anal leakage. And it's like, I was just expecting them maybe to do that again, just with
yes, I remember that.
A fractured orbital eye socket, a dislocated jaw, and anal leakage. But no.
And a leaky bum.
Yeah, and a leaky bum. Maybe Daddy Cena is above reproach. You won't get that sort of JR treatment anyway. But that's what I just thought when they were listing out all the things that have injured him. It reminded me of that segment. But the best bit about that segment as well is just the King's face when Cole comes out with that, and he's just like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like, it came out of nowhere. So it's quite hilarious. But anyway, Batista returned, got a big pop.
And it was a really good use of both entrances.
Yeah.
Like, so he even got the spotlight thing, and I was just like, even though I wasn't a massive fan of Batista in his sort of final heel stages, but that was a really good use of the spotlight.
Yeah. And if they use that now, I mean, obviously, he, like as you said, that he used that towards his heel bit. I liked his last little heel turn, personally. I mean, I know a lot of people didn't, but I did. It just reminded me of a lot of the old style heels that used to come out and everything. But yeah, he got a big pop. The crowd were pretty hot for Batista during this. He didn't get like a monster pop. We're not talking about the likes of when The Rock made his return or anything like that. But he got a big enough pop. It wasn't.
He got a decent cheer.
It wasn't because it wasn't as much of a surprise. He still got a big enough pop when he came back. But yeah, Batista himself is looking a little bit smaller than he does. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed that as well.
Yeah, I did. I picked up on that. But apparently he's doing jiu-jitsu instead, so he's sort of going for a whole less power, not so much less power as in he's going to turn into a weakling, but like more speed and agility.
Well, it worked for Goldust, didn't it? When he came back, he was the smallest weight he's been since any time that he stepped into a WWE ring, and Goldust. I think it was smaller than when he played football. So yeah, exactly. So the NFL. Exactly. So I mean, when you look at Batista, and it's not exactly when we say smaller, the guy is still massive and ripped and in good shape, but he's a bit smaller, and that sort of impressed me, the fact that okay, he's not going to have to be carrying around all this extra weight. He's going to be able to get around the ring a little bit better, and all the stuff that I said last week about him possibly blowing out is a little bit less likely if he's not carrying around as much weight. If he's of a good weight, and good shape, then he's going to be able to have longer matches and everything. So yeah, for that I'd much rather see him be smaller than bigger or anything like that coming out personally, because I like longer matches. That's the way that I think. And I think there's more of a chance of having that. So you liked this segment anyway. You thought this was really well done the way that he came out. Yeah, I just enjoyed all of it. It's good that he's not. I guess he can't really sort of return on like a new entrance music or anything like that. But it was just good, and it's like I liked the fact that they did the sort of. It might just be me getting really all sort of like reminiscing and just like, oh, I remember when, and it's like, but doing the whole sort of like machine gun pyros. Yeah. It's sort of like a real good sort of just like,
It's good. It's nostalgic and it's good.
Yeah, yeah. We've been waiting for that, and obviously, you know, the whole sort of entrance feel that he had, and you know, I love his entrance anyway. Batista, the way they work the prior into his entrance and everything. So
Yeah.
great. But yeah, I agree with you here. They could have messed us up. They could have, and we were fearful that they could have messed us up. But yeah, it was as good as it could be. And Batista's promo was short and sweet. He said what he said and got out of the ring, and yeah,
Didn't really need to do anything else than that. It's just like, you know what, I'm going to the Rumble. You know, I kind of want to come here for a title because, well, why else would I be back?
Yeah, exactly. Personally, I think that anyone who cuts a promo should be cutting a promo and saying that they're going for the belt. It seems like everyone seems to be doing it nowadays. That's the way I like it. That way, it makes it seem as if the WWE title is something that's so sought after, rather than having one guy saying, "Oh, I'm going to win this, I'm going to win the belt," and then everyone else is just having little rivalries. I'd like more wrestlers to go, okay, I'm going to win this match, then I'm going for the WWE title.
Well, I say, especially considering now it's meant to be like. Yeah, especially considering it's meant to be so many people now. So it's like, because all one's just like, oh, there's Cena, and then there's Lesnar, and then there's Batista, and it's like, that's how it should be.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, should you not have like a sort of a cycle of people who are chasing after your belt?
Yeah, rather than having the same old champions which we've had for a very long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, brilliant. Good start to Raw. The only thing I would say about this is that the overall promo itself, because of the way that it was built, was very long. I mean, we were about 50 minutes.
Before like Batista even came out.
Yeah, it was very very long. The before Batista, actually made his reappearance, but I can't really fault it for that. I mean, I know I say that I want a match to start up Raw each week, but if the segment's good like this and it's something that fans want to see, people wanted to see Batista returning, I can't really say anything about it. So, first match of the night, anyway, we had the Brotherhood and Big E Langston against the Shield, another 6-man tag match with the Shield, which. As you said with the Shield, they should be getting boring by now, but they aren't. I don't know how they're doing it.
Not at all.
Yeah.
This was kind of difficult because I had to watch Raw again today.
Yeah.
Like all the matches mostly. Because mutual friend of ours, I was around his last night and watches WWE, watches Raw, but watches only promos and fast forwards all the matches. And it's just like, great, I enjoy watching like I like watching the Shield and the Brotherhood wrestle, and you're fast forwarding it. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I get why some people would do that, because I mean sometimes the quality of the matches aren't exactly fantastic, but every now and then you get a group that you just want to watch their matches.
But that's it. And then how do you know that they're a good group if you don't watch it?
Yeah, exactly. And they are good. You can't really point to a bad Shield match, can you? Really, they've just been fantastic. And the Rhodes brothers since they came back in, and
definitely. Yeah.
But anyway, going to the actual match itself, it wasn't really a long match. It was fine. But Seth Rollins got a pin with a really dirty curb stomp, which I think will probably...
that was just brutal. That was brutal. But the thing I liked was the fact there was a lot of quick tags to get to that finish as well.
Yeah, they always build up very well, don't they, to the ends of the Shield matches.
Oh, yeah. It's just the whole thing. It's just like... I don't think I could ever get bored now of watching Brotherhood versus Shield matches.
Yeah. It just works very well, doesn't it? And
that's
because the quality of wrestling is good. If the quality of wrestling is good and they do different matches and not the same old spiel every single time they get in there, then of course it's going to be good. But if they keep doing the same guys with the same matches, doing the same stuff, then it will get boring.
Oh yeah,
that's the way it is. But if the matches are of high quality, then I don't mind who's wrestling. And these guys have been pulling off really high quality stuff. Personally, I thought that Ambrose would be the one that would get the pin on Langston, because the idea being that they might end up unifying the US and the IC titles. But it's good to see Rollins get the rub of the green anyway. I mean, the guy we were talking
from a guy who got a "You Can't Wrestle" chant last week.
Yeah, exactly, which was just so bonkers and so wrong. The guy.
The thing I quite liked is like there's no real denying that Big E's over, considering he got quite a cheer for his hot tag.
Yeah, he gets treated pretty good as a champion. You look at all the champions that he ever had as the IC belt. I mean, hell, you even look at Ambrose. You can't even remember the last time that he's defended his belt. I
think they mentioned that recently on Raw, right? That it's been so long since he last actually had to. He just holds it. He just hasn't had to do anything with it.
I remember like there was a rule that they did in like storyline, back in the Attitude Era, that if you didn't defend your title within 30 days, you could vacate it. And it's like he hasn't defended the title.
It's not even the fact that you could. It's like, wasn't it like if you hadn't defended it, you will vacate it?
Yeah, that's it. It was automatic.
It's not just like if you just want to hold it, tough. Unless you want to fight, if you got to fight for it.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, they had the same sort of similar rule in boxing. I think that's probably why they got the idea that if you don't defend your title within a certain period of time, you will be stripped of that title. And it's fair enough. But it doesn't. I mean, WWE obviously they like to pick and choose their make believe rules whenever they want to kind of go whatever they have. And
they did one earlier for like later on for Punk. It's just like, I swear, it's like, it's always randomised. No, I can't remember the last time there was a Royal Rumble where there wasn't some sort of match where the stipulation is you get a number, a fixed number. You don't get this random shit.
And like normally it's like a battle royal to see who will get number 30, or it's like some person will get screwed into being number 1 or something, which happened later on in the show. But in terms of this match, like I said, I was quite happy to see Rollins get the pin, and it was a dirty little finisher that did it as well. So hopefully he can do that as his finisher, because that looks very, very good. One day I'm hoping that he doesn't just botch that and just end up splitting someone's head open or something.
It was a brutal stamp, wasn't it?
It was a little bit, yeah. But I was quite glad with that match. A good match to get us started anyway. There was actually a spot in this match I thought was brilliant where Cody Rhodes went up and did a big splash off the top rope. It looked brilliant because he went over the camera. Very good camera angle for that.
It was even just how he got up there as well, because wasn't it was sort of like second rope, top rope leap?
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
Really just good and quick. I picked up on that.
Yeah, he's been working a lot of stuff on his aerial ability, Cody Rhodes.
One thing I still find it funny to this day that Cody Rhodes was my least favourite member of of Legacy. I was thinking to myself, I can't wait, because DiBiase's going to take this and run with it, and nobody's going to give a shit about Cody Rhodes. And when was the last time we saw DiBiase on TV? Is DiBiase still with the WWE?
He's gone now.
He's gone now?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's probably why. But even then, like before he was fired, he was around, but he wasn't around, sort of thing.
That proves my point.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we were under the assumption that DiBiase would be the guy taking it forward, but sometimes it just doesn't happen that way. Cody Rhodes, I think in terms of ring performance, he's better than DiBiase now, anyway. If you look at it that way.
Yeah.
But moving on anyway, we had the next promo was Daniel Bryan. He came back and as himself, as not Daniel Wyatt. Daniel Wyatt is gone.
Yep.
And he revealed that it was his plan all along. I was expecting
to infiltrate the Wyatts.
Yeah. So I was expecting him to do like an old 80s cliches. Maybe it was like sort of like him doing Vince McMahon's thing where they.
It was me, Bray.
It was me all along. I just have JR come up for that one bit and say, "Oh, son of a bitch, that would be brilliant." But no, he said that it was his plan and essentially that he had planned for this, and as soon as the moment arose, that he took his frustrations out on Bray Wyatt. I'm glad that they pulled the pin on this, particularly early, especially as they're setting this up for Royal Rumble. I think the plan was essentially initially for it to go longer than Royal Rumble, to have him as part of the group. But I'm glad that they did this, because they were getting to the point where it might start damaging his face response, but he's still got that, and that was still evident on this show. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I got to say, it was a really good promo from Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
But then I was sort of sitting there watching, and I was like, this is a really good promo. Now I'm expecting gold. And gold is what I got.
Because out came Goldust. No, it wasn't. It was Bray Wyatt, and he delivered a golden promo back at Daniel Bryan. He's just so brilliant when he does those on there, and I like the way that they do. It was also like when we were talking about the spotlight on Batista earlier. Well, they tend to put the spotlight on the guy that Wyatt is talking to, and they'll focus on that quite a bit.
Yeah, but it's just like because obviously it's always, whenever it's a video sort of response on the Titantron and that it's always just dark, and it's all just backlit, and it's just really well done.
Yeah.
And Bray Wyatt can give you gold.
Yeah.
When he's cutting a promo, because it was great, because it was just this whole you betrayed us, you joined us, and now you've betrayed us, and you know what this means. And it's just everything, you think you've had it bad, you don't know, it's all on you now, and it's just Brilliant.
Class A promo. One thing I will say about this, they have built up really well this match between Bryan and Wyatt for the pay-per-view. Quite excited to see how that match goes. But one of the things that is a little bit worrying is that he made a reference in Bryan's promo about the fact that because Bray Wyatt was in this match and Luke Harper and Eric Rowan were in the Rumble match, that Wyatt would be on his own. And I was thinking to myself, does that mean that Bryan wouldn't be doing double duty at the Royal Rumble, that he wouldn't actually be in the Royal Rumble match itself?
Yeah, that's true. But it's wrong. Though the Harper and Rowan will be there.
Of course they are. Just because they're going to be in the Rumble doesn't mean they're going to be around. So I thought that was a little bit of a dumb sort of statement to be said in that promo.
That's it.
Yeah. So yeah, that was good fun, and that built up the match as good as I think they could have done, especially with the whole month that they've done this. So kudos to them for that whole storyline. We had Fandango against Xavier Woods. This was a really pissy match. I don't know whether you agree with me on this one, because
it was like a squash match almost.
Essentially, it was. I don't
really
really want to say it
didn't
was
take
a squash
that long
because it didn't really last long enough to be a squash match. It was just pretty much like a one-shot kill.
Yeah.
Which you'd expect maybe better, because they want to obviously give Woods at least a better shot at this as well, especially against the likes of Fandango. It's not as if he's getting, in there with Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar demolishes the guy. This is Fandango he's wrestling, so...
Yeah, like, let's push our developmental guys. Okay. Not really seeing the evidence of that.
You look at all the guys that they brought up, they've had at least a decent push. Even Fandango, when he came in, he beat Chris Jericho at WrestleMania in his first match. Woods has probably had the worst sort of rub of the green since he got brought up to the main roster, and I put that down to the fact of the people that he was brought into the main roster with. He was brought in basically to turn Brodus Clay heel or anything. It doesn't seem like they've got much of a plan with these guys. I don't know if they... I personally, I can't think of a plan they've got with these guys. I think WWE doesn't have anything. It certainly seems that way, doesn't it?
It's definitely sort of it's just like, yay, we got him. Now what?
Yeah, exactly.
I think eventually we're just going to say. I think it's almost sort of turning into, we need Fandango out on stage. Why? Just so we can bring Emma up from NXT.
Yeah, at least we got to see her there. I mean, Emma's very good. I just don't like the way that they're bringing her out and just doing this random dance and having the sign up #Emmataining. She's a good wrestler. I'd bring her up as a good wrestler. That be the reason why.
I mean, I'd say fair enough. Sort of keeping sort of like the entertaining thing going on, but it's really like they mocked her. This is the one thing I didn't quite understand, is the fact that like she was getting, like, they were ridiculed. Like, the commentary team was like, "Is she doing the hokey cokey?" It's like, great.
Yeah,
just destroyed.
Yeah, exactly. This is the first initial response that the main wrestling fan has seen of Emma, and it hasn't been a good one, which isn't great, because considering that she's got real potential. You look at her matches that she's been having with Paige down at NXT. This is one of the girls that we said that would have a good chance of being something big if they decide to build up the Divas division. And one of the things that I worry about that is that they do this gimmick with her at NXT where she does that dance, and everyone in NXT gets into it, or the crowd get into it because they're a great crowd at NXT anyway. They get behind all the wrestlers there.
Oh yeah, I could sort of compare like an NXT crowd to an ECW crowd.
Yeah, it has the same sort of feel, doesn't it? But when you bring that gimmick out and you put it in front of the generic WWE audience, I don't see that going down at all. Personally, I think it could be a bit of a dud. Are you under the same sort of impression?
It's one. I mean, it's sort of. They managed to get Fandango going.
Yeah.
Which was
that was because the fans did it, wasn't it? That was because the fans made something of it. It wasn't because they tried to shove it down.
I don't know if it was so much the fact that WWE finally thought that, yes, we've done it. We've got the Fandangoing, or it's just a bunch of people just taking the piss.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the whole Fandangoing thing doesn't really happen that much anymore anyway. I know he gets a big response whenever he goes to certain places and they'll do it, but that's because they're into his entrance music. They're not really into him. That's the problem. It's the entrance music. But I mean, yeah, they haven't done really much for Fandango, and he gets a win, like I said, over Xavier Woods. But it was just a pissy match. There wasn't really any point of it. It doesn't even really make Fandango look that good, because he beat Xavier Woods, and Xavier Woods has got nothing under his belt, so kind of did nothing really.
It's just like, well done, you beat a nobody.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, Xavier Woods is getting probably the worst build up of any guy that they brought up from NXT. And you can only think that he's probably going to fall into obscurity, which is something that we feared when he was brought up anyway. Next promo was basically Kane getting a bollocking from Stephanie McMahon.
The further ruining of corporate...
Yeah.
The further ruining of the name Kane by corporate Kane.
It must be quite hard for him to get pussy whipped by someone he's not even sleeping with.
That's very true.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
It's difficult.
But he basically got talked down, didn't he? Yeah, he was just... He looked like a little scolded dog in there with Stephanie McMahon, didn't he? Unfortunately, and he was ordered to go and apologise to CM Punk after choke slamming him on SmackDown, and he did so in a very sort of aggressive manner. And CM Punk decided that he was going to bash a microphone over his head for his trouble. So this kind of led up to Kane. Kane was about to go ballistic, and Brad Maddox came out and stopped him. It just seems that even Brad Maddox has control over Kane nowadays.
It's like, there's a problem with your character when Brad Maddox can turn around and go, "Don't do that."
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Brad.
Yeah. It's just the whole sort of degradation of the monster Kane. Maybe he'll snap and he'll go back to the old Kane and he won't listen to anyone, but it seems a bit silly nowadays anyway. I would have preferred it they kept him, as corporate Kane, but like you said beforehand, that if they've got someone that they want to be dealt with, someone to get a good hiding in the ring, you send out Kane to go do it for them, sort of thing. But they haven't done that. He's been out of the ring for a very long time now. But Kane anyway basically said that he was going to be facing one of the New Age Outlaws. Or maybe Maddox, he said, it doesn't really matter. And that led to a Punk versus Billy Gunn match, which is something that...
I was very happy with.
Yeah, the only thing I could say...
Because we got Road Dogg on commentary as well.
Yes, Road Dogg was absolutely class on commentary, showing everyone what to do. I mean, when you look back at the guys that have been on commentary, we're looking at Biggie Langston, that was very, very generic. Had Ryback, who was a bit of a train wreck, saying the stuff that he thought was funny but wasn't. Road Dogg was absolutely on top notch, wasn't he? He was on top.
Oh, definitely.
One of the notes that I made here, which made you chuckle, when I was actually looking at Billy Gunn, all I could think of was that we were looking at Dolph Ziggler in 20 years.
I saw a picture, and it was like the evolution of Ziggler, and it went Ziggler, Billy Gunn, and then Mickey Rourke in The Wrestler.
Oh god, yeah. I thought that though when I looked at it, because with the hair was the one is what I get it. Obviously, with the whole lips all over his fucking.
And they both do it famouser.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, he had a good enough match as you can expect from Billy Gunn. He hasn't exactly had a lot of matches in there. He's got probably still quite a bit of ring rust. He hasn't had that many matches. To have a singles match with the likes of CM Punk. It was as good as you could expect. It was alright.
That's it, and there was really good sort of distraction work in it as well.
Yeah.
There's nothing I could really fault at all.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Punk gets the victory as you would imagine. That's fine. There's nothing to be gained from Billy Gunn going over Punk, really.
There was one thing that they were talking about on commentary, actually, and it was like, how come the New Age Outlaws get a title shot? It's like, could it be because you're friends with Triple H? Yeah.
I liked Road Dogg, though, because he just kind of, he kind of spat it back in their faces, like, well, we beat the tag team champions. And it's like, yeah, in that case, they do deserve a title shot, really.
Oh, and that's it. It's just like, is it because you're friends with Triple H and you're both DX? Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Road Dogg is great at any role. If you want to put him as a face or a heel, he'll talk as good as anyone out there.
Oh, definitely.
I'd like to see more Road Dogg on commentary because he was absolutely top notch. He was better than anyone there when he was on commentary by a mile as well. So very, very good. After this match, Kane came out after calming himself down, maybe having a good on, soothing moment to himself,
sits out the back, Earl Grey.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Just calm yourself down, breathe. He came out and basically said that CM Punk will be the first entrant into the Royal Rumble. Which, fair enough, I like that, because CM Punk has got a history of being early in Rumbles and going in for ages and making the bulk of the Rumble actually pretty entertaining, so I'm quite glad.
That's it, yeah. It's not new to him either, so
it's very And to have a guy, if you've got someone going in there to make people like, let's say 1 to 5, CM Punk is the biggest name out of them. He will make that first 5 slots, first 10 minutes of the match, quite entertaining. So fair enough. I like that.
Definitely.
So anyway, the next bit was a really, really touching video package that they did for Mae Young.
Yes, it was really well done.
Yeah, it really was. Especially as they obviously don't have a lot of archives of her wrestling in her heyday, because she had,
because video wasn't invented then.
Yeah, I mean when you've got a career spanning 80 years,
that's it.
You're not exactly going to have a lot of footage, to air. You can't just put loads of pictures up. So I like the way that they did this. They did a lot of stuff in regards to her comedy segments on Raw. And one of the bits that I noticed as well was the part of her getting power bombed by Bubba Ray Dudley off the stage and through a table, and that just sort of had the Let's Go spirit of Mae Young, that she would just do that. That was just part of her.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, this video package had me going a little bit. God,
I'm not the only one. Because I was literally like, when it got to the end, I was like, oh. Yeah. I was like, I'm pretty sure I genuinely had a tear. I was just like, oh.
I was welling up a little bit. I thought it was very, very well made, especially. And I had Stephanie McMahon do the sort of like the talk over it, and I know that Mae Young, she wanted a match with Stephanie McMahon when she was 100, when she got to her 100th birthday. So I think that's kind of fitting that Stephanie McMahon was the one to do that.
Yes.
So that was really good. I wish that they do more of those sort of promos when we have wrestlers that pass away. They didn't really do one for Randy Savage when he passed away, but that's a whole sort of subject that WWE just doesn't want to seem to ignore.
That's awkward.
Yeah. But yeah, I like it when they do this and they take the time to make a really good video package. They could have rushed one last week, but I'm glad that they
sort of took the time with it.
Yeah, exactly. That they did that. So very good. We had a rematch. We had Mysterio Del Rio 2. A rematch after the last week. Obviously building up to Batista. And this is the entire match. It went on for quite a long time, and Mysterio had quite a bit of offense. This was probably one of the best matches of the night, to be fair.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it was the best match of the night, Mysterio Del Rio.
Well, the crowd really took a while to get into it, to get sort of going.
Which is understandable. I think they're probably waiting for Batista to come in early.
Yeah, sort of just like, is he just going to come out and just interrupt the match and just squash Del Rio there and then? Or, no, turns out he's going to let him sort of have his match. And...
Yeah, which is fine, because they needed a match like this, because otherwise, the overall match quality of the show wouldn't be too great. I'm always a fan of them having a very lengthy match in the middle of Raw to kind of get things over, to have something that gets you really excited, to tie you over. Otherwise, if you have too much of a list of long matches, of short bad matches, then the show just doesn't seem worth watching after that point. So I'm glad that they did this. But in the end, anyway, Del Rio gets the victory, and Batista comes out as Del Rio starts to attack Rey Mysterio and proceeds to absolutely demolish Del Rio in every sense of the word. Gives him the spine buster, does the usual Batista stuff where he shakes the rope,
shakes the ropes and everything, yeah.
Down, and Batista bombs him without sitting down, but Batista bombs him nonetheless.
To be perfectly honest, I think it's got something to do with the fact that Batista was probably wearing trousers that he must have been sewn into.
Yeah, he picked some very tight clothing, didn't he? I think if you had done that, it would have been a risk of some rippage, and that would have been quite embarrassing.
That's it. It's like, Batista, we see your pants.
But yeah, so like we said, Del Rio, the only reason he's been built up, he's been getting victories over the last 3-4 weeks, is to get destroyed by Batista. I thought that maybe they might draw this out. I thought one of the things that they could have done is have Del Rio duck out just as Batista, or maybe Batista goes for a clothesline, Del Rio ducks out and then gets out of the ring, goes out back, and everyone's like, builds up that heel response for so maybe you have a point in the Rumble where Del Rio's dominating and then Batista comes out. There's a pop for you right there. There's nowhere for Del Rio to go. He's gonna have to either eliminate himself or face Batista, and of course, you have that showdown there.
I mean, the one thing I quite liked about the whole thing was it's just literally, even if it doesn't go anywhere else, it was just really a case of shut the hell up, just bang, hit it with a Batista bomb. It's like whatever happened, as far as I'm concerned, that's done.
Yeah. You can't expect much more out of a rivalry. Like I said, they may end up having a match or like a filler program with Del Rio and Batista before WrestleMania, but there's not going to be a Del Rio and Batista match at WrestleMania. That's just stupid. There's no money to be made there.
No.
So yeah, you got to give him someone to feud with, a little mini feud to tie him over to WrestleMania. There's a lot of time between now and WrestleMania, so I'm fine with Del Rio filling that role. So that's fine.
Yeah.
And there's obviously going to be some sort of confrontation at the Rumble. They will be in the ring at the same time during the Royal Rumble. So yeah, that's just it. I just thought they might save that for Rumble and have a bigger pop then, but maybe people would have thought had done by coming up to the big show where Batista returning and he doesn't Batista bomb anyone or anything like that. So. Yeah, that is what it is. So we had an ex promo where something else they'd be building up the entire night. It seemed like anyway, where Big Show was calling out Brock Lesnar. Do you like that? Yeah. He did an interpretation.
Yeah. The only thing I quite liked is I realised before Raw went to a commercial break, it looked like the Big Show was talking to the shortest member of staff they could find.
Yeah, he was just looking down, just speaking.
It's just like, you are a tiny person. You are really tall. It's just like, it's not even it's like trying a clever camera angle. It's like, literally, someone find Hornswoggle. We can't find him. Exactly. Get that man.
Yeah. But anyone's going to look just absolutely tiny next to Big Show, aren't they? Except for you, Matt. I think you could probably stack up.
I'm 6'4", so I mean, I sort of stand the sort of same height as far as I know, 6'4", so I stand sort of the same sort of height as Batista and Lesnar and things like that. I mean, that sort of ballpark figure. But it's like, I mean, Big Show's still a foot taller than me. Yeah. So I suppose they probably look quite small, but they had to find the shortest person. It's like, hey, Pete, come here. Stand here. Look at the little man.
Yeah, they want to build him up as a giant, don't they? So I don't know whether that was by.
Gee, do you think it's like Big Show's a giant? We get this now. Yeah. Everyone who's even heard of WWE knows that there's a giant.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to the fact that his gimmick name used to be the Giant. That's just what he used to be. So, yeah.
Heel original. Oh, what are you? I'm the Giant.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, he came out anyway, and he did an interpretation of Paul Heyman's voice, which was funny. It was. I'll give him props for that, but he did it like twice, and it didn't need to be done twice. I thought, you got your pop out of it. That was fine.
Yeah, but to be perfectly honest, there was a second thing that happened in this entire section that happened twice that didn't need to happen.
Yeah.
Lesnar takes enough time getting to the ring as it is. Don't need twice. Like, it generally, I swear, I'm pretty sure I heard people in the crowd just shouting "boring." I was just like,
it just seemed weird that he does a fake walkout but then comes back anyway. It just seems so. Like, why would you do that? Like,
that's it. It's just like, why?
It doesn't get any sort of fan response, so it didn't really, because nobody didn't get that much of a fan response of doing it. But
it's just like, oh, you're gonna walk away, you coward. No, he's not a coward. He's gonna turn around. Oh, but he's gonna run away anyway.
It just seemed very, very odd anyway. When you do a fake walkout, that's fine. Chris Jericho used to do that when he come out. Remember when he would get the mic and seem like he was going to say something and just walk out. That's fine.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't come back out then. That doesn't make no sense. He's left. That's the way it is. But they brawled anyway after Lesnar got in the ring, and they had a little face-to-face, which is fine. That'll look great on a video package anyway. And Lesnar got thrown out of the ring again. And took as good. He makes you got to give it to Leslie. He makes the bump look pretty savage. I think
it's because Lesnar's too stupid to take it and to take it safely.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not trying to say that, the guy's an idiot, but it's like he's got a very sort of MMA mindset, which is literally just like, well, it's going to hurt, but it'll look damn good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's one of those guys, isn't he? Lesnar. He's not afraid of getting damaged for a little bit of
no, not at all.
Exposure, is he? So. Then he proceeded to throw all of his toys out of the pram outside the ring. He pretty much picked up everything outside and threw it everywhere. Threw one of the television cameras that they had.
Threw a monitor at Big Show.
Yeah.
I was just like, the thing I quite liked is the Big Show at that point had a chair, and I was literally just in my head, dun, 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 dun.
Just whack out of the park, Big Show. Yeah. Get some unfortunate fan who gets it straight to the head. But yeah, and then obviously Lesnar he went mad with the chair and beat that up on the table. That poor table, it gets quite a bad rap, doesn't it? It gets Lesnar bashing it with a.
And it's not even the announce table.
It's just an announce table. Poor thing. And yeah, essentially, I mean, this segment was okay. I mean, I'm not that into this match, and we already talked about why, but it was okay. It at least got me some sort of interested for this match and seeing what they're going to do. But there's only so much you can get me interested in a match that I didn't want when it started, sort of thing. Are you under the same sort of thought, or I mean, are you into this match at all?
Not particularly, no.
No.
There's nothing that I can. There's nothing I can even take from it because it's literally because for young fans and things like that, it's like, oh my god, he's the Big Show. It's like, yeah, but we've seen Big Show and Lesnar before.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, they broke, like when Mark Henry and Big Show broke the ring. It's like, oh my god. It's like, yep. Lesnar did that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just completely just like, oh, it could actually happen. No, it could have happened back then, and it never happened.
Yeah,
like we know what's going to happen. It's just going to be Lesnar's coming in as the outsider, so he only comes in to make an appearance. Are we going to have him lose to the Big Show? No.
There's nothing to be gained from Lesnar losing to Big Show.
That's it.
At all. I'm sure Big Show will get a decent amount of offense in this match, but Brock Lesnar will win. There's no other way about it.
Yeah.
But we'll go into that into our predictions later. But you know, we said that there's only so many matches that you get with Brock Lesnar over a year, and do we really want one wasted with the Big Show? No, not really. Especially with all the different people on the roster that he could feud with. They're matches that he hasn't had before. There's a lot of people. You could have Daniel Bryan, you could have him against Batista, you could have Brock Lesnar against Undertaker. There's a lot of different stuff you could do. Big Show is not one of the guys that I want to see.
Have you ever had Brock Lesnar Batista?
I don't think there was a Brock Lesnar. Well, there may have been, I'm not sure, but they were around sort of the same time, I think.
They're in that sort of awkward grey area, aren't they?
They were around at that time where, if you remember, Lesnar was on SmackDown and Batista was with Legacy on Raw. So
with Legacy,
Batista got his first big title win at WrestleMania 21, and we all remember that Lesnar left the company at WrestleMania 20. So there's a year gap where Batista was on the rise. That maybe would have a match against the likes of them. So they haven't had a big match against each other, but they may have had some altercations.
Yeah, they could have crossed paths.
Yeah, and obviously they were both heels throughout that time as well. So
yeah.
Big Show against Lesnar, it is what it is. You know, I'm sure it'll be interesting just because Brock Lesnar's there, but Big Show's hardly interesting. All we can remember is that I went back and looked on that on the New Year's or the Christmas Raw, and him just dressed up in like a diaper, and you've got him now trying to be a big guy going against the big beast incarnate. It doesn't really work. Yeah,
it's like, really, 3 weeks ago you were the New Year baby. Shut up.
Yeah. So AJ Lee and Tamina had a tag team match against the Funkadactyls.
Woo.
Woo-woo. Woo-woo-woo. No, we won't go there. AJ Lee has broken the record for the longest Diva Championship run, and she got very annoyed that no one came to her party, so she proceeded to douse Tamina in her birthday cake. Birthday cake?
Celebratory cake.
After trying to get Josh Matthews, as you would. You know.
So just the worst thing is like we can't even get Barrett on proper TV time. We have to get Bad News Barrett in a video package.
Yeah. But this is the more sort of thing that, these video packages I more want to see him in, but when he's delivering promos where he's just like, that sort of promo that he gave is the sort of reason why I don't like Bad News Barrett. Because it's bad news, but like, it's not like anything that's relevant. You know what I mean? He's not like saying, oh, I think they could have done Bad News Barrett differently. We've already said that, but yeah, they're going to try and fit him in whenever they can. I'm just glad he didn't have a longer segment, really, personally. But there we go. Get him in the ring. Come on, he's got to be at the Royal Rumble, surely. If he's not in the Rumble.
He's in the Rumble.
He's in the Rumble, finally. So we're going to see him wrestle, so at least that's good. Anyway, so Tamina basically goes on like a squash. She just destroys the Funkadactyls in the ring.
Cameron. Yeah. It's literally a squash of Cameron again.
Yeah. Which is fine, because that's all she's good for. She's not a very good wrestler. We just go into that.
Yeah.
But then she tags in AJ, she goes for the pin, and AJ gets rolled up. And she gets beaten, and she goes on a little bit of a hissy fit. One of the things
because by that point it was Naomi that was in the ring.
Yeah, it was, because she
they've actually managed to get schoolboy.
Yeah, yes, yeah. Or it was more like I don't know if you quite.
It was a schoolboy roll up sort of possum pin.
Yeah, it was like a possum pin, wasn't it? locked her in that way. But oh no, wait, it's a small package. That's what it's called, isn't it? They used to call that ages ago. So yeah, this kind of builds up towards the sort of they're building up a new challenger to go against AJ, who will more likely lose as well, because why have Naomi win the belt? It makes little sense, really. But even in loss, even when she loses, AJ is still really interesting to watch. Her face when she got pinned was absolutely priceless.
Oh yeah.
And
it's like, I think it's safe to say that she is probably our favourite female wrestler at the moment, and we just happily watch AJ wrestle.
Yeah, any program involving her. This is why we're crying out for someone like Paige to come in and have a rivalry with AJ, because that would be brilliant. Because then you've got two good enough wrestlers. I think a lot of people think AJ's a better wrestler than she is. She is better than the majority of the roster, but like she isn't as good as a lot of people seem to think. That she's the second coming of female wrestling. She still has a bit of improving to do, but yeah, they could have a really good sort of a good program with each other. But she, in terms of of a personality, you can't get any better than AJ in terms of women on the roster. She is the best personality that they've got, and rightfully so, the champion for that long, because there's no one else really you can put the belt on. I don't think there's anyone on the roster you can put the belt on, personally.
No, I can't think of anyone. I'd actually hate to see it if like Naomi won the title. It's just like, oh dear.
Yeah, the problem with that is I can kind of see it happening, because WWE do this sometimes. They like to play hot potato with the belt, but they haven't done this with AJ, so I think they're probably saying
but it's the worst way to destroy a belt.
Yeah, to give it to someone that's not really that.
Yeah,
well, she is good, but she has.
It is to play hot potato.
Yeah,
especially considering that she's only just sort of setting herself out as a wrestler rather than a dancer.
Exactly, and that's all that she was for for
long enough.
Months, yeah, when they first debuted. But if they are going to make AJ lose the belt, you may as well save that for Mania, and they're not going to draw out this rivalry until WrestleMania, because that is going to die of death early. So it's either going to be a stopgap, or I'd be very shocked if they do give the belt to her. But we'll see how it goes anyway. I think they could have a good match though, AJ and Naomi, personally.
Yeah, possibly.
I think there is a good match to be had there if it's given time. There's potential, but we'll have to see.
If it's allowed to grow.
Yeah, exactly. The Usos had their third match against Wyatt family members in 3 weeks. Oh, sorry, fourth match in 3 weeks, because they had two last week. And this match was fine. It kind of, it didn't really go on for that long. It was a stopgap, and obviously, they're building up the Usos even more and more, giving them lots and lots of victories.
That's it.
They've been getting nothing but victories this last month. Sorry.
Yeah, I saw. The thing is, there was only one part during that. Was Bray Wyatt meant to cut a promo during that match?
I think so. Yeah,
because he was mentioning a lot about the fact that the crowd was dead.
Yeah,
and the crowd was dead.
I mean, if you look at the fact that, I think Luke Harper was in the ring, and he literally got like a chin lock on the guy for a very long time when he was doing that. Like they had set up the spot in the ring ready for.
Oh yeah, so. But it's just, it was just like. That can't have all been scripted. Like most of that must have just been a shoot, because, like it's just because it was just like, oh, you're all so quiet, and it's just like literally just like going on at the crowd.
Occasionally, a crowd does need that though. To get them fired up a little bit. But I'm sure it was planned, because it just seemed too convenient, the fact that the action in the ring went to a standstill as to the mic, but. Yeah, fair enough. Sometimes I think that they should have a little bit more. I mean, if you look at one of the bits that I was really impressed with CM Punk before he had his rise, is that he was having a match with Rey Mysterio. The crowd started chanting boring, so CM Punk pretty much no-sold a move, got out of the ring and attacked Rey Mysterio with a bunch of high-impact moves. It got the crowd back on the side of the match. So I think if you have more freedom to kind of nip it in the bud and get the crowd back into something like that, then fair enough, go for it.
Yeah, but it's kind of the problem that they've got with WWE. It's just like, this is your match, and this is how you're going to do it.
This is your promo, this is what you'll say, and how you'll say it, yeah.
Yeah, when there's no sort of real free reign, because sometimes it will just completely die, and there's not a great deal to improvise, because, for well, if you just go, you didn't do what we asked you to do, and you're going to get, you're going to get it in the ear.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we look at the likes of some of the biggest catchphrases that Austin had. You know, Austin 316, and that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. He actually did that when he was improvising in the ring. If you actually listen to his podcast,
yeah,
he said that. I mean, it's been talked a lot about his 316 one. And basically, he had a match. He got his lip busted open, so he went to the hospital in the middle of the pay per view because it was the King of the Ring pay per view. And then Jake the Snake had like a religious promo on him, but Austin didn't see it. He didn't know, so he was told by Michael Hayes before going out there, "Oh, you know, Jake's cut a religious-based promo on you. I thought you want to know when you win the match, so you know you can make some sort of reference towards it when you're the King of the Ring." And he did, and he made reference to the Austin 316. You know, Austin 316 means I just kicked your ass, and that became like a huge thing for him, like a huge catchphrase. Sold a whole bunch of T-shirts. The whole like that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so actually came around because Vince wants him to wrap up a promo, and he decided, okay, I need to get this done, so I'll just say this. And he said, and that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so, and that ended up becoming one of his best.
His best ways of it's just the best way to just kill off a promo.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no, I'm not saying like kill off a promo as in like terrify, like oh god, make it end. But it's literally just like and done.
Yeah, and
nothing else.
Good.
You shut the hell up.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, those two big catchphrases came from him, just thinking of something on the fly and going along with his character. There's just no room for that nowadays. I think that's the detriment to a lot of people. We really got off the kilter here. We were talking about the Usos against the Wyatts. We got like all about Stone Cold Steve Austin's catchphrases. You can expect that a lot in this podcast, I think. But anyway, yeah, Bryan came out and attacked Bray Wyatt, which you can kind of see coming. You know, he's got his back to the ramp. You can kind of see it happening. And Usos get there was a roll up pin because they got it in this match. So they got the Uber roll up pin, the one roll up pin on the show that they have every week, and the Usos got it this week. That's such a deadly finishing maneuver. It's such a shame that they can't use that in the Rumble, you know, because they have to throw him over the top rope. They can't use the roll up pin.
That's it. I don't know how do people win Rumble matches if they can't roll up pin?
Exactly. Yeah, I don't understand personally. I mean, that and the Tombstone Pile Driver are probably two of the most devastating finishing moves of all time. So, anyway, the Royal Rumble pre-show. I don't know.
The usual statistics.
Yeah, we had they obviously do these statistics promos each year anyway. That's okay, and they update them, which is fine. But I caught on the Royal Rumble pre-show is going to have HBK, Ric Flair, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. What a pre-show panel to have!
Oh yeah. It's just literally just like whoa, woo, and well, HBK.
Yeah, HB Shizzle as he's been
called. HB Shizzle, yeah.
I just expected him to come out like, you know, maybe trying to cosplay Snoop Dogg just to go for the full night.
Brooklyn.
Oh god, no. Probably going to talk about that guy later on with our topic.
The HBG.
Yeah, HBG. Oh god. So yeah, well, that is a panel and a half, especially as it's quite relevant to the Rumble because all those guys have won the Rumble. Jim Duggan was the first winner of the Royal Rumble, so.
That's it. And just the fact that Jim Duggan, I think, has been in every Rumble since.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he's missed a few.
He always, like, to current memory, like, he just always seems to turn up. Just out of nowhere, just like, ow, ho, yeah.
I love Jim Duggan. He's awesome because like I said, we said this last week that he kind of looks like a homeless guy, but he looks fantastic because he's just bonkers.
Yeah.
But yeah, brilliant, fantastic. So yeah, you couldn't get much better than a pre-show panel than this one. I hope they get they're also going to have a lot of time as there's not many matches on the Royal Rumble show to air their thoughts. You got a good talk. You got a good few talkers there. You got Ric Flair, great talker. HBK can be a good talker, you know, on the night. So yeah, they could do something very good with that pre-show.
Jim Duggan, sort of talking.
Yeah, he'd probably bring his 2x4, I imagine. So 2x4 would be the fourth member of the panel. So
the 2x4 and the flag, yeah.
Exactly. Why not? Then we had the rematch that everyone wanted: Orton versus Kingston 2. I'm being sarcastic. For anyone that kind of that didn't catch, like we said at the start of the podcast, my thoughts on Kofi Kingston, that was during the week. You can catch that, and a lot of it went down to this sort of program that they're doing. That Kingston got a win, but what's really the point? He's being used to have a reason for Orton to go bonkers or for Cena to have an opportunity. He's a body, shall we say, that he's in there for that one reason and one.
Just for the sake, we needed someone. He was around.
Exactly. And he's a face guy that we can go against a heel, and that's essentially what it is. But the match didn't really get any time to really go anywhere. It ended extremely quickly. Because Cena, they put the camera in the back, and Cena came out sporting his new T-shirt. He's gone DX green for some reason.
It's not even the fact that I don't even think it's close to DX green. It's like Prill Day Glow.
Day Glow, yeah. Maybe it's
Day Glow
green.
green.
I don't know. But yeah, it's WrestleMania season, which means a new shirt, for John Cena. So that's just the way it goes. I'm sure they sell a whole bunch of those things. I'd actually like WWE to release how much money they've made off John Cena merchandise. It would probably be staggering just how much money they've made off of his merchandise. And it's
Sort of
good
like,
business, I guess.
This would be really good to sort of find out if WWE ever released like the #1 best-selling T-shirt.
Yeah. Well, Steve Austin said on his podcast that he wouldn't accept that anything sold more than his 316 T-shirt unless he saw the figures himself, and I'd be inclined to agree with him because John Cena sells a lot of T-shirts, but wrestling now is not nearly as hot as it was back then.
Definitely.
We look at something like the monster ratings that Raw used to get during the Monday Night Wars, especially when they were in the ascendancy, where Austin was on a form.
Yeah, that's it.
Then you look at that, and there's just not as many people into the product today. I would be hard to disagree with him for that.
Yeah.
So. But I'd like to see that anyway. I mean, I doubt they would ever do it. They don't want to disclose too much, but I imagine they have made buckets of cash out of John Cena T-shirts. So. So they attacked anyway. He attacked Orton outside the ring. Orton didn't seem to know who he was scared of. He was scared of Kofi Kingston, then he was scared of Cena. And then they started fighting through the crowd, Cena and Orton. The only way Orton could escape, according to commentary, was stealing a car. And I think the new gimmick for Randy Orton should be Grand Theft Auto Orton.
Grand Theft Orton.
Grand Theft Orton, there you go.
That's it.
Where he just steals people's cars. Why not? Yeah.
That's it. So we need.
Yeah.
Best way. Suddenly just we bring back original Del Rio when he first turned up in all these cars, but he'd never be the one driving away with them. No.
Randy Orton's the one doing that. Yeah. No. Obviously they're building up that Randy Orton does not want to fight John Cena, which seems odd because he's already beaten him clean in the TLC match. But anyway, John Cena comes out and does all the fan service. With all the guys, I like the fact they ended it this way because a lot of Raws end this way, where they basically, when they take the camera outside the arena. I would like this every now and then because, it's interesting.
It's a nice change.
A little bit of a change,
and it used to happen quite frequently as well.
Yeah, but the match itself wasn't great. The match I'm not exactly excited for because it's another Cena Orton match, and it's not nearly as like I said before, they've done the TLC match, and they're doing the singles match this way. It's done it the wrong way around. But it is what it is. They ended it there because obviously it seems weird that they didn't end Raw with all the people getting in the ring trying to do like a Royal Rumble, sort of like everyone in the ring's trying to throw each other over. They used to do that all the time, the Raw before Royal Rumble. They just get everyone to have a clusterfuck in the ring.
Yeah, to have like a mini Rumble.
Yeah.
Meh.
But yeah, not exactly a great way to end the show, but overall it wasn't a bad show. It had some pretty shocking bits in it. It had some good matches and some good parts, especially with Batista returning. It was quite interesting to see him there. So it was the go-home show for Royal Rumble, which is this weekend. So overall, I'm pretty excited for some of the matches that they got on there. You got Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan. And you've got the Royal Rumble match itself as well. And they've got a few. I
don't quite understand. I can't justify the pre-show.
Oh, it's the titles match, isn't it? You think that deserves a spot on the main card, surely?
Yeah.
But they've done a lot of good matches on the pre-show before. I may actually check that out when that goes up because one of the matches of the year was the Shield against the Usos, and that was on the pre-show. So it might be worth checking that out.
That's true. Yeah.
So could be good. Was a good match. Just because it's pre-show, I don't really see the title changing hands. But you know what? We'll get into that now. Why don't we? Because that's all Raw done. Let's go into the predictions, Matt.
Yeah.
About this week, you've got the prediction list up. You've got the match list. It's probably not going to take that long to get through all the matches anyway.
Or what currently looks like 4 that WWE have released.
Exactly. So what's the first?
No, to be like 5.
Yeah.
So you've got your kickoff match.
Yeah, which we were just talking about there.
Brotherhood of Outlaws.
Yeah.
Titles ain't going to change hands. I think we can both agree on that one.
Yeah, I don't see the titles changing hands. I mean, if they were going to do it, then why not do it on the main card? It seems like a bit of a disservice not to lose the belts on the main pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So, if it was, the fact is, because it's pre-show, I go with Brotherhood. If it was on the main card, I could see Outlaws getting the win, personally.
Yeah. And probably considering the Outlaws are meant to be sort of like around for quite a while now.
Yeah. And they would fill the slot. Like, personally, I think Usos are the next big face tag team champions that you need to have. But do you really have a face against face tag team match for that? That's a little bit dodgy. So what you would probably make it do is that you could sow the seeds of the Rhodes dissension by having New Age Outlaws beat them, and then the Outlaws had the titles for maybe a month or two going into WrestleMania. The Usos get the big win for the belts at WrestleMania against the Outlaws.
Oh, that sounds ideal,
doesn't it? It sounds perfect, but the way that they've done this here, I don't think they will.
The fact that it's on pre-show, yeah.
So we're both in agreement there. We think that the titles will remain in the Brotherhood, shall we say?
That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. So then we've got. I'll leave obviously it's got Rumble, but we'll leave that till last. So we've got Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt. Daniel Bryan has to be.
Yeah, through DQ.
Yeah, the only way that I can see, I mean, they've done finishes already where Daniel Bryan faces Bray Wyatt and then everyone else gets involved and beats him down. I don't think they're going to go for that this time. I think they're going to let Bryan have his clean win, end this storyline, and start building towards his plans for WrestleMania. I don't think that Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan are in the same plans for WrestleMania, personally.
Yeah.
If they are, then they've done a bad way of sort of dragging out until then. If you've got 2 months to drag out this rivalry, I think that this is the perfect
quite a bit of filler, yeah,
isn't it?
We'll see.
Yeah, Bryan for me anyway.
Yeah. Show Lesnar.
Show Lesnar. Yeah, it's Lesnar. All day long.
Yeah, that was easy.
Yeah.
So we've got Randy Orton, John Cena.
Randy Orton.
Yep. Do you know what the worst thing is? Because I've already done, like, WWE have their little voting thing, and you vote on, like, mostly the main event.
Yeah.
25% of people think Randy Orton's going to win.
No.
The blind fools. The blind
the
fools.
The generic wrestling fans.
Oh my God, Cena's the greatest thing ever! No, he won't win.
Yeah. They wouldn't have put the belts on Orton unless they had a plan for him. What really is the point? And I think really if they don't get Sting into WrestleMania, I could see a John Cena Undertaker match. It's the one thing that Cena hasn't done. So
75% of 250,000 people are just blind fools.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. So
this is probably the quickest we've ever just gone through the predictions.
Yeah.
And then that's it, because it's the only other thing that's listed up here is the 30-man Royal Rumble match.
Okay, so who do you think's going to win the Rumble match?
Batista.
You think Batista's going to get the win?
It's
I'm hard pressed.
You can't predict it. I'd want Batista to win, but it's just like because you don't have someone return just to get dicked.
Yeah, you're hard pressed to pick anyone apart from Batista. This is the reason why I'm saying that, because the way that they're saying it is that Bryan isn't going to be in the Royal Rumble match. Batista's not in the Brock Lesnar's not in the Royal Rumble match. John Cena and Randy Orton are in the Royal Rumble match. There's a lot of big players out of the Royal Rumble match.
Yeah.
I don't see CM Punk winning because the Authority won't let him. That's not part of the storyline. And I don't want to. I think they could do more with CM Punk. He doesn't need to be in a title match at WrestleMania. So really, in my opinion, if you take all that aside, I think there's only two people really that could win it. Which is Daniel Bryan if he decides he does pull double duty, or Batista. I can't guarantee that Daniel Bryan is going to be pulling double duty. So
yeah,
I'm going to have to agree with you. I'm going exactly the same as you. I know I'm trying to get more points than you, but I have to go what I think because otherwise I'm going to lose points. So yeah, I think Batista get the win, Randy Orton to get the win, and I think they might do a Batista, Randy Orton for who is the face of the WWE, and they do the title.
I don't think it will come down to who's the face of the WWE.
Or who's the Authority's pick or whatever, to go on.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's personally how I think it will go. I think Batista will win. The only other way I can see it is if they do a big return, but there's not. You look at the guys that could return. You can have RVD come back. You can have Sheamus come back. Neither of which I think would be good to win.
Well, apparently we can expect to see Evan Bourne.
Oh nah, he's not going to headline WrestleMania, is he?
But he might return.
Yeah. Which,
but
I don't think most people would actually know who he is now. He's been off Raw for years.
For a long time, yeah.
Which is a shame because the guy obviously had something, but I think he suffered from Kofi Kingston syndrome, where he had that smile on his face. He was just walking around like, "Yeah, I'm happy to be here." It's like, I don't like that personally, but yeah, he's a good wrestler, and he didn't get enough time to really for me to decide whether I liked or disliked him. So
He managed to get some good spots. That's one thing I quite like is just like WWE have put up the best 30 Royal Rumblers ever. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Just having a quick flick through them.
Yeah, go on to say some of the most. I mean, Kane's got to be in there, obviously. Cause
Kane's in there. Granted, I'm flicking through and I'm only on like number 24, which is Cody Rhodes.
Okay, I know.
Kofi's like 27. He's been in 5 Royal Rumbles. He's eliminated 5 people.
That's one person per rumble.
Yeah, but the only reason they put him in the list is because of his hopping on an office chair.
Yeah. I talked about this in my extra podcast. That this is almost like Kofi Kingston's season because he's going to do something at the Royal Rumble, which is a bit bonkers. But that's the one thing that really WWE keep him around for.
That's it. So. 21, Yokozuna.
Yeah, I can see that. He's been in a few.
And the fact that he is really difficult to eliminate.
Yeah.
He was Yokozuna.
Exactly.
Number 18 is The Rock.
Yeah, I can see. I'm guessing as you're going through them, I reckon Shawn Michaels is going to be up there. Austin's going to be number 1 because he's got 3 victories. John Cena probably be up there as well. Rey Mysterio probably be up there. Chris Jericho.
Probably number 16, Rikishi.
Yeah, fair enough.
Sort of making my way through.
Yeah.
I think Rikishi sort of still stands at the similar sort of thing as Yokozuna. You still got to get him over the ropes.
Yeah, exactly.
Tony, Bret Hart.
What is he on?
Number 15.
That's it. He never won a Rumble, did he? Oh, no, he did win a Rumble. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Me.
Would expect to. I think all Royal Rumble winners should deserve to be in the top 10 at least, surely.
Yeah, but then you're talking quite a lot of people then.
No, there's a lot of people that have won 2 or 3, so...
Yeah, so if we're going to go in that, then it'll go Austin first, because he's won 3.
I think Austin will be top.
British Bulldog actually came above...
Oh, I don't understand that, honestly.
Jericho, number 12.
That's fair enough. He never won one, did he? So
over 8 appearances, he's done 15 people, and he's done nearly 3 hours.
Wow.
Total.
He's had some good performances. I've seen him in the ring a lot, where he's had really long stints.
His massive appearance, last year.
Yeah.
Batista, number 11.
Yeah, he won one, didn't he?
He won 2005 and eliminated 13 in total.
Yeah.
Edge.
Triple H is probably going to be in there. Yeah, Edge had a win as well.
10.
I don't even remember him having many other Royal Rumble moments apart from him winning, though.
Oh, yeah. Ray's number 9.
I think that's fair enough.
Randy Orton's number 8.
Yeah, he's won one.
The final 10. Undertaker, number 7.
Yeah, so he's another guy that doesn't have many Royal Rumble memories apart from the fact that he won one. So
yeah, he's holding 35 eliminations, which is 4th best.
I imagine a lot of those came early in his career. He wasn't in many Royal Rumbles towards the last stage.
John Cena, number 6.
Yeah, fair enough. He's won 2. So.
And also came 22 eliminations.
He's won 2 Rumbles.
And he's won 2 Rumbles, 2005, 2010. Kane, number 5.
Yeah, that's fair enough. He's got the most eliminations, so
you'd
expect that. He also had the record.
He hasn't.
Sorry, what?
He holds a record for most Rumble appearances, 14. He's eliminated 38 people, which is second to Shawn Michaels, who's eliminated 40.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. I thought he had the most. I remember he had the record for most consecutive Rumbles that he'd been in.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The real Hulk Hogan, number 4.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of has to be allowed, I suppose. Triple H, number 3.
I don't get that. He won 1 Rumble, but that was pretty much it.
What, Triple H?
Yeah.
Let me load it. Bring it back.
He's been in a Rumble a lot. He's been in the final
8 appearances, 28 eliminations. He's done some good time in the Rumble match.
Yeah. He's you see him a lot as the last 4, but I wouldn't rank him higher than people that have won it twice, shall we say. Like John Cena. John Cena's won it twice.
Stone Cold is number 2.
Oh, so it means Shawn Michaels going to be number one. I don't agree with that personally.
No, I
What's the
reckon
point of being the best Royal Rumble entrant if you're not going to win it? You have to win it as many
that's
times as you
it. I think it's literally just because he's been in it 12 times. He's got the most number of eliminations. But no, I disagree. Surely the best Royal Rumbler should be the person who won it the most.
Yeah, personally, that's what I think anyway. So yeah, we disagree with that list. There's a few dodgy picks in there anyway, but we'll see
Yeah,
how it goes. Maybe there'll be a new Royal Rumble winner. But yeah, my pick is Batista anyway for that, so get his second Rumble win.
Somebody doesn't know wrestling. I'm looking at the comments. Hope Punk, Batista, Bryan, or Kofi wins.
Oh God.
Ugh.
The day Kofi Kingston wins is the day I stop doing this podcast. Really, it's just stupid.
The day Kofi Kingston wins the Rumble is the day I stop watching wrestling.
Yeah. Okay, so we've done all right. There's no other matches. There's not many matches on the Royal Rumble card anyway. So that's
because you think the Rumble takes the better part of an hour to an hour and a half.
I mean, you look at the longest one they had; it's like an hour and a half. So
yeah,
they could have a long one like that as well. We don't know, but I think any longer than that is cutting it. Then you've got a bad flow of the match. So yeah, it should be. Listen, the Rumble's always fun. There's going to be a few awesome returns. Like I said, I expect Sheamus and RVD to make a return.
Yeah.
This part of the year, I mean, according to Sheamus' injury, I think he's good to come back now.
Yeah.
But whether he fits into the whole WrestleMania plans, I just don't know where you put the guy, unless he's heel, because I think everyone's just sick of face Sheamus at this point. But we'll see. We'll obviously cross that bridge if he comes back. But I could definitely see RVD coming back because he was only gone anyway for a little while as per his contract. But you can expect him to come back for WrestleMania season anyway. So yeah, I think they're the two sort of banked ones that you can definitely expect to come back for.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, apparently we made some Christian as well.
Yeah, but the Christian's sort of a sore subject because that guy's ready to go. They just don't want to. They don't want him on the roster for some reason. But we'll see how it goes there anyway. So we're on to our actual topic, Matt. We actually managed to get to this. We've been trying to get to this for like 3 weeks now.
We've made it.
We've made it to the topic. Yeah, we're basically going to be talking here today in as much length as we can regarding basically answering the simple question: is the WWE roster too bloated, and why is it too bloated? Why they have almost too many wrestlers that they know what to do with. That they give a lot of these mid-carders almost no sort of care, and they bring up, like I said with Xavier Woods, they bring up these guys and they've got no plan for them, so what's the point in bringing them up? And they've got only so many slots on the roster, but they've got lots and lots of wrestlers in developmental, not just NXT, but in developmental. And the reasons for them maybe signing so many wrestlers, and are WWE trying to sling just like personalities of different guys at us until it sticks and we get the next John Cena, which is the next big guy.
Sort of trying to filter it through. It's really awkward because it's almost like WWE is sort of happy to sort of bring more people into it, but they don't want to get rid of what's left.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that maybe they fear that they want to get these guys on contracts, but in fear that maybe TNA gets one of these guys and it blows up, becomes like the next Steve Austin or something, and does good work for them? Or
I don't think so much. No.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I don't think so. But them.
I mean, if it's getting to a point where I think if WWE haven't pulled out the potential of these people, then I don't think definitely TNA aren't.
Yeah. It's not the same as like back in the days where like you look at the whole Steve Austin thing. WCW dropped him because they didn't think he was worth it anymore, and then he went to WWE and became a big star over there, and they sort of kicked him in the face. But it was because WCW and WWE were on even track at that point. The TNA and WWE are not on equal sort of levels in terms of ratings or brand awareness, anything like that. So yeah, I don't see that happening, but. Maybe they just want to monopolize the wrestling market. They want the wrestlers on their books. So if there is someone that blows up big, they've got him. They've got him under the books, rather than having like a rising star that captures everyone's attention. And he goes off to another company. But they seem to sign an awful lot of guys. They not just wrestling guys. They sign a lot of people that were in NFL. They sign a lot of models for their Divas division. They've got a lot of people under their books, and that's got to be taking a lot out of their paycheck.
It feels a lot, yeah.
And it's not as if now they've got Raw and SmackDown to fill, because often you'll get the guys that are on Raw on SmackDown, the guys that will be SmackDown will be on Raw. So they don't have two different rosters to fill. They basically go off one.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of goes back to the sort of like the brand separation that we've discussed previously, where I don't think the roster would seem as overinflated if they had place for everywhere, had room for everyone to go.
Yeah. But they don't, do they? I mean, you look at the likes of Fandango, which they brought up, which they have done nothing with since his debut. Xavier Woods, these are guys that they've brought up from NXT, unless they've got a big plan for them, like the Shield did. The Shield are quite lucky because they were one of the first NXT groups to be brought up, and obviously the Wyatt family. Then there's a big fear of them just falling into obscurity and becoming like the next Kofi Kingston or becoming the next Jack Swagger, where they
Xavier Woods,
where they may have something like big every now and then, but they're not really going anywhere. They're just hoping that. I mean, do you think that WWE are bringing up these guys in hope that they connect with the crowd? And if they don't, then they're just mid carders, and that's how it would be. And then they'll bring up more guys to see if they connect, rather than actually building a guy up. They're just throwing guys against the crowd to see if something happens. Do you think that's happening?
I'd hate to agree with that, but you kind of get that impression.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it does really matter. It's like whether the crowd takes to you, but I mean, they're not really giving the time.
Yeah.
For superstars to sort of go out there and go, "This is me." It's literally just like if you don't get the pop on the initial reaction, then it's gonna be really awkward. But I mean, the only sometimes you can get that cheer from your initial reaction, and then it just completely dies out. I mean, whether it's just because the fan. But then that's just bad booking. Ryback, for example.
Yeah.
When Ryback first arrived, he was like the crowd were behind him. We were behind him, you and me.
Yeah.
And now we couldn't give two shits.
Yeah.
Nobody can care,
isn't it?
But it's like new faces. Well, I say new faces, but he wasn't Skip Sheffield for that long.
Yeah.
Like new faces who have just come along, like the crowd have got behind, and then still sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yeah. But you'll see a lot of the times that they've got so many wrestlers on their books at the moment that sometimes you just won't see wrestlers for a very long time. We haven't. When was the last time we saw the primetime players? You know, when was the last time you saw JTG, for Christ's sake? That guy is barely on TV and he's still got a job there. I don't understand how.
It's the fact that he's not even on like main event or anything else like that. It's just like at least you sort of hear that the primetime players were on main event.
I know that WWE needs jobbers. You know that every wrestling company needs.
When was the last time we saw 3MB? Old School Raw?
They shut. Yeah, I think they were on Old School Raw, weren't they? Yeah, because they were part of that really awkward segment, if you remember.
Yes.
But yeah, see, 3MB seem to be their resident jobbers, and they bring up every other guys to be jobbers as well. I understand you need guys on the roster that are going to lose matches. You do, that's fine. But to have they have a lot of guys on there that they just don't do anything with. They're not even jobbers. They're just not on TV. You look at the likes of Zack Ryder, JTG. You look at guys that have got great potential, but they're just languishing in mid card. The likes of Dolph Ziggler and Antonio Cesaro, guys that should be in the top tier, but there's no space for them because they've launched way too many people in, and they've brought back returning stars rather than building up the current mid carders they have up to that level.
But it's kind of awkward. It's like you were sort of mentioning like JTG and Zack Ryder, and it's like I was about to say Yoshitatsu, but Yoshitatsu now wrestles on NXT.
Yeah.
So at least he's getting some airtime on a WWE brand.
Yeah. But you look at how long he's been in the company. I mean, surely if they don't think he's going to do anything for them, then it might be even better for the wrestlers for them to move on and try and find something else, go to a different company where they may get a bigger push. They may not get as much money, but they might be, happier the fact they're actually wrestling. They're out there doing their job and not languishing in no man's land in WWE. Because I firmly believe that once you're in WWE's mindset that you're not going to be a big guy, you will be a mid-card guy for the rest of your life. And you look at some of the guys that they've got on the roster, unfortunately, like I said, like Dolph Ziggler, like Antonio Cesaro, that there's no plans for these guys, but they can get it done in the ring, but WWE just doesn't see it that way. They've got their chosen guys that are going to be top, unless something huge happens, like let's say, the crowd response that Daniel Bryan's got has brought him up to that level.
Definitely.
But
it's like Daniel Bryan, like they say, like the whole storyline between Daniel Bryan against the Authority, where they were talking about like you can't be the big guy, but that's because WWE never believed that he could be, and it was the crowd that pushed him.
Yeah.
Like the only reason Daniel Bryan's put in this sort of storyline is because the crowd got behind him. It's not because WWE put him in a position.
Yeah. and obviously WWE have had to listen to the feedback he's got, and they've put him now into like I like to call him a main eventer now. You can't call him anything other than that because he will be champion again. He will get a reign, I'm sure of that, unless they really screw it up. But Daniel Bryan, out of all the guys that they brought up, has been the only real main eventer that they've had since they started up the NXT sort of bringing guys up from NXT, the developmental side from there. Are they going to keep just bringing guys up? I hate to think of the likes of Sami Zayn or he's.
Oh yeah, hang on, Sami Zayn. Yeah, I know exactly who you're on about.
Yeah.
Now we switched to NXT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at the likes of him, you look at Enzo Amore, who's really good on the mic. You look at some of the other guys on there,
like Adrian Neville, things like that.
Adrian Neville, yeah, guys that are there. Are they just going to be brought up? And if so, are they just going to be thrown at the crowd with relatively no backing, just in hope that something connects, something sticks, and then they can run with it? But surely then, if you've got too many guys on the roster, you look at the likes. I mean, I'd like to think that there's something in Xavier Woods, but would I have liked to seen him on the roster rather than the likes of Sami Zayn? No, I would like to see Sami Zayn on there instead because there's a lot more there's better wrestling to be had there. But it's also the sort of the other side of, like we said, we want Paige to be brought up to the main roster. That could be the worst thing for Paige on one hand, because she may be forced into this really weak Divas division that she just doesn't get any time in the ring and just becomes one of the Divas that they throw out in these 10 Divas tag matches every now and then.
It's true. I actually never really considered it like that. Yeah. Just sort of really wanted to see Paige actually up on the main roster. But yeah, no, it was a very valid point.
Yeah.
I guess that goes back to our 2-year plan in the Divas division. Set fire to it. Kill them all. We'll just save a couple.
Yeah. Pick out a few and then set a forest fire in the division. Just let it all burn out.
That's it. We shall begin the first ever WWE Hunger Games.
Yeah. Whoever wins can stay on the roster.
Yeah.
That's it. They should just lock off an arena and have an empty arena and just let them all start in the ring with those weapons in the ring. Do
you remember the empty arena match?
Yeah, that's the one they did in the Super Bowl, for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
With The Rock and Mankind. Yeah, I remember that.
Such a great match.
Yeah, it was. It was good, and I wish they did more stuff like that because it's more interesting and different. It seems to get into a routine nowadays. They should go out of the box more often because that was interesting. That was memorable. That was. But in terms of the topic, yeah, I do think that WWE have got themselves into an issue where they're throwing guys against the crowd and hoping that something gets there.
Do you like it? No. Come back here.
Yeah, then
next
mid-card you go for the rest of your career.
Yeah.
And I personally, I don't think that WWE are holding on to these guys because they're afraid that someone else will tap them up. I don't think that's an issue for them. They are the monopoly. They are the biggest wrestling company in the world. No one's going to take them off. And if they did, then they're not exactly going to go any higher than they would in WWE. There's no threat there. But I do think that WWE, there's still a lot of guys.
Derek Bateman is currently headlining TNA.
Yeah. But the guy couldn't even get his match that he was promised when he won NXT. So...
Yeah,
it kind of explains it there, doesn't it? But yeah, I personally, I think they do have too many people. I think some of the guys are just happy to get there and have a paycheck. I think they have too many guys that are happy to be there and get their paycheck rather than guys on the roster that want to be the best. You know what I mean?
Rather than I work for the WWE, as in WWE pays my bills.
Yeah. Or like I work for the WWE to be the best, rather than I work for the WWE because they pay me. It's two very different things. I think WWE wants to go for the type of guy that wants to be the next big thing, not the guy who's happy to be there every week. That's one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of Kofi Kingston, because he doesn't seem to have any aspirations or any strong aspirations to get any higher than where he is. It's frustrating because there's guys in the world in wrestling that do, and they can bring them up, and there might be something big if they get booked or they get handled correctly. But they've got a lot of guys on the roster that are just happy where they are. If they go any further, that's fine, but if they languish in mid-card, they'll be happy with that the rest of their careers. I don't think any wrestler should be that. I think every wrestler that goes into WWE wants to be either the Divas champion or they want to be the WWE champion. Anything less is not acceptable, personally. I mean, do you agree with that?
Yeah. I don't see why anyone should literally just go in and go, I'm happy being here. Everyone should be pushing to be the next. Like, I'm not main eventing a show. I should be.
Yeah, this is what I'm going to do to get myself there, yeah.
It's not even the fact, it's just like, you think, like, it's not so much like get an ego and think you should be doing it. You should be pushing yourself to the point where you can.
Yeah. To make it so they can't overlook you. Look what CM Punk did. He basically made it so they couldn't overlook him. You know.
Oh yeah.
He kept doing great in-ring matches. He basically wrote his own script, SmackDown, during the Straight Edge Society sort of gimmick that he came up with. He basically gave that to them.
That's
Make it so they can't.
This is what I want to do for the next 6 months. Bosh.
Exactly. Don't sit back and think, they're bringing back Batista, or they're bringing out The Rock, they're taking my spot away from me. Well, why don't you take that spot away from them and give it back to yourself, rather than just sitting around hoping that WWE is going to give you a bone? Why don't you actually take it for yourself? They don't have enough people on the roster that are like that. They don't have a Stone Cold Steve Austin. They don't have a Rock that would go out there and take their spotlight, and they'll do whatever they can with every minute they have. They don't have enough people like that at the moment. I think WWE should be looking to bring guys into the roster that are like that. But they seem to have a lot of people that are just happy where they are, which I think is part of the problem. They're bloated. They've got a bloated roster full of guys that are happy to be nowhere. They're happy to be floating this way, that way. So, that's my thoughts here. Have you got any other thoughts about that topic? I think we covered it pretty well.
I think we covered it, yeah. At least
finally we covered it.
we mention it quite a lot though. That it's just like, just get rid of some.
I don't want people to lose their jobs. I don't want it to sound like that. Oh, we want people to go out of their jobs and not wrestle anymore. Maybe it would be better for these guys to leave and go to Japan. Maybe wrestle over there for a while. Or go to TNA, maybe, or go to
Ring of Honor. Hell,
there's other companies. Yeah, that might take you on. So
that's it.
But yeah, I do think they have too many people on there. They've got a lot of people, and like I said, JTG. I mean, like I said, I don't want to see people lose their job, but I just don't understand how JTG has.
I think we should watch Royal Rumble and just like, will we see JTG and tick him? Like we literally would get we'll get JTG, Zack Ryder, Yoshitatsu, and all this lot. We'll get them on a list, and I think we should tick them off. Yeah. If we do see them in the Royal Rumble.
We'll do that, yeah, definitely. I'm definitely going to make a note of anyone that's in there that I think, wow, they could have given this spot to someone else on the roster.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say about the Royal Rumble, actually.
Do you think we will see King?
What, in the Royal Rumble? No.
You think?
No. I think WWE made their mind up. They don't want that guy in the ring anymore after what
happened.
Yeah. Especially after his health scare that he had, I think WWE...
Like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, okay, probably not. But it's just like the amount of times we're just literally just like... It's like, oh god, and here we go, King again. Yay, I did it. And then literally like 5 minutes later, yeah, I know, Michael. Shut up. Don't say anything. Headphone back on.
Straight back on commentary, yeah. I thought actually when they did that Rumble where Cole went in and then the King went in, I thought that was actually pretty funny. But... I think that in terms of like
please don't say Cole. I don't want to see Michael Cole in the Royal Rumble.
No, I don't want to see that guy.
He just busts out the orange.
Yeah, that's horrendous. That really is. His god awful helmet that he used to put on. That's just ridiculous.
Who was he feuding with?
That was he was feuding with King.
It was against King. Yeah, it's like Jack Swagger was his trainer.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Back in those days.
That was awful. What do you mean those days? That was like 2 years ago.
I know. You got to think I think that was the same WrestleMania that the Miz went against John Cena in that main event, and it was absolutely god awful.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Terrible.
So I think that's everything for this week. Have you got anything else to add apart from that?
Oh, I can't really think of anything else. No.
Okay. If you like this particular episode of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast, leave us a like on our YouTube channel. Subscribe as well. We've been seeing that we've got a few new subscribers, so thanks a lot for joining us for the ride. Subscribe to the channel and you won't miss anything. You won't even miss the Let's Talk More Wrestling bits that me and Matt will do on an occasion. It'll more likely be one of us just doing a solo sort of small sort of coverage on the subject or something like that. But this weekend is Royal Rumble. Personally, I actually get more excited for Royal Rumble than I do WrestleMania, so this is gold night for me. I love Royal Rumble. So I hope you guys do enjoy the show. One of the things I said on the Let's Talk More Wrestling thing is that I hope that listening to this podcast maybe gets you built up for the shows, because I think that's quite important. Sometimes, you end up you end up watching wrestling. That's a mix of those two words.
There we go.
Get it out of there eventually. You end up watching wrestling so long that you kind of, it's very hard to get yourself, pumped up for a show, get yourself excited, because WWE don't do a good enough job of getting you excited. Maybe this podcast got you a little bit excited for the Rumble this weekend, and if it did, then that's the reason why we're doing it. So to give you a bit more entertainment. And apart from that, if you want to listen to this podcast on our Podbean channel or download it, just leave us a comment or send us a message on our YouTube channel. It'll be uploaded pretty much on the same day. The reason why we don't do it straight off, which you explained there before, is because there's just not enough demand for it at the moment. But if there is demand for it, then it'll be put up there. It's as simple as that.
That's it.
So yeah, apart from that, thanks a lot for listening this week. We'll see you next week for the results of the Royal Rumble, and yeah, we'll do it all again. So yeah, thanks a lot, guys, and we'll see you next week.
You have a good one.
Bye bye.
Cheers.